What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Stepping Stone. I'm coming at you guys with a little bit more of a serious one, a little more vulnerable, not as goofy and lighthearted as some of my other ones. But it's something I want to talk about, and I feel like it always helps to talk about it. Even if no one really watches it, I feel like it's always felt right. So I'm going to just talk about it. And what I want to talk about, as you can tell from the title, down there, are social traumas, man. And particularly how social traumas suck, man. If you follow my channel or have been following, you would know that I have a lot of social traumas. And for a very wide variety of reasons. In large part, it's from being bullied in elementary school, middle school. In other parts, it's like, I feel like unhealthy conditioning or environment, like at home, family-wise, culturally, both, I think, Mexican culture, but I feel like even U.S., American culture too. I feel like I'm a pretty sensitive person, and I feel like I feel things very strongly. And so it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I can feel very intense joy and connection, but I can also feel very disconnected and lost and lonely and hurt and scared. And I feel like, that, as well as I was also a very high achieving student growing up. In high school, I was straight A's. I actually graduated as the valedictorian. Sorry, I had to drop it, a little flex. But yeah, it's crazy to think back to that sometimes. I feel like that's such a long time ago, and I feel like life's had a lot of twists and turns. But I feel like I received a lot of hate, and I feel like a lot of people were jealous of me or didn't like me because I was a high achiever. And I feel like I learned to minimize myself, and I feel like I was conditioned to believe that to be proud and to be confident was to be arrogant and to be a show off or a know-it-all or whatever, and that, also bullying, surrounding like my Spanish. I mentioned that in another video. And also, I think more than anything, I was in a friend group that was very toxic, and there were a lot of things that happened constantly in that friend group that I feel like made me uncomfortable and I wasn't okay with, but I didn't really know how to handle it. And I feel like I'm someone who, honestly, really just until like recently, like the past year, I've really learned to like what boundaries are and how to like set boundaries and uphold boundaries, and even just like being in tune with my feelings. Like, I am someone who, for most of my life, just bottled up my feelings and just suppressed them. And I think it really started to come crashing down like last year of high school / after high school. And yeah, I feel like, from some romantic pursuits gone sour, really hit my self esteem and hit my confidence and just a lot of shit, man. A huge one too, being on the internet. I feel like, um, you know, the internet has like the worst of the worst. You encounter very pessimistic, very cynical, very judgmental, bitter perspectives and comments and all these things. And I remember like there was a time, probably around the pandemic, where I guess really it was just I was just doom scrolling, but I would like see like wholesome content and I'd be like, oh, like that's so funny, like that's so cute, like this is wholesome, this is great. And then I'd go into the comment section and people would be like, oh, this is so cringe, like, oh, like kill yourself, like you know what I mean? Like all that type of shit, all that type of energy. And I think seeing that online and then existing in a friend group where a lot of that same toxic energy was very normalized, I quickly became very disillusioned and I felt like humans were just kind of shitty. And, mm, there was a lot of things like people talking shit behind people's backs in my friend group, people insulting, like there's just no lines anymore starting when COVID hit and the quarantine hit. Like everything just became super toxic, super personal. There were no boundaries anymore. And it really took a toll on me. And I feel like, COVID quarantine era probably took a toll on a lot of people, for sure. Um, but it certainly, all these things did for me. And I didn't really realize until like late 2021 was when I started to sort of cut people off and distance myself and from certain people, and from that friend group. And it's been a while. I mean, we're now in 2025 and I've made a lot of progress, especially the past 2 weeks, and particularly when I started to focus on trying to heal and trying to get back to being myself, my authentic self, the version of myself that I had lost over the past 8 years or so. And it's been tough, man. It's been tough. I feel like recently I've kind of reached that point where I can like it's like so much fun sometimes and I can really like find joy and humor in the process and in what I'm doing, which is essentially pushing my comfort zone bit by bit, trying to like exposure therapy my way into growth and healing. And that's kind of the basis of every video, is to do a video that helps me become the highest version of myself in some way, whether that's being more vulnerable, being more honest, sharing some experiences I want to share, being myself, being goofy, whatever it may be. And yeah, man, I feel like it's fun. It's been fun a lot of times, but it also really sucks sometimes. And today was one of those days which just feels very exhausting. It's very draining, man, because if you've seen any of my vlogs, when I go out into the world, here in China particularly, where everyone's staring, like I just feel a lot of intense anxiety and judgment. And I feel like people are judging me, and I feel like some people hate me or I just feel unwelcome. And it's not all the time, but sometimes it is pretty intense, and it just really sucks, man. And I'm thinking about getting back into doing therapy, because I feel like that could really supplement this personal journey and my channel and what I do here. But yeah, I feel like there has to be a lot of people just like me. I'm certain of it, I'm certain there's people who feel very lonely and disconnected, and maybe they feel purposeless or lost, or there's a lot of people who have no friends, man. Loneliness epidemic type shit. And I realize, like, even for myself, I have friends, but I often struggle with opening up and talking about things like this. I've struggled a lot with masking, which is, I think, what in a lot of ways exacerbated my social traumas, because I would feel uncomfortabilities, I would feel things are wrong, but I wouldn't do anything or say anything. I would just try to push it off and suppress it and ignore it and hope that it goes away, but that doesn't work. It simply doesn't, and I learned that the hard way. And I've made a lot of progress too, man. I've certainly lived much more healthily. I have much better mental health. I feel much more purpose and reward in making videos just like this, and being honest and being authentic and being vulnerable, being raw. And I'm certainly on the right path. But it's not a straight line. It's up and down, and I feel like I'm definitely having more wins than losses. It's like a constant battle, man. It's a war. Every day you have those battles, and I feel like I'm winning more of the battles, but it sucks when I feel like I lose one of those battles. And I think part of it is, like, it feels like I should be over it by now. And that's like a feeling. I don't believe that. I know to be compassionate and to be accepting, but it just kind of feels like it was such a long time ago, and there's some feeling of, like, pressure, feeling like I should be better, I should be further along. And I think that's a lot of people, especially in my generation. My girlfriend struggles with a lot of the same things, feeling behind and feeling lost or feeling disconnected, feeling isolated. And I think it's really tough, because, like, when you're so used to masking, you can, like, know that you lack connection. You can know that you miss people, and, like, you miss feeling connected and feeling understood. And at the same time, like, it's harder to, when you're stuck in that space, it's harder to open up, and it's harder to talk about these things. And it kind of just feels like you fall deeper into a rut. There's a lot of messages I haven't replied to for days, weeks, even. If anyone's watching who I haven't replied to for weeks, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. I'm not sorry. I feel bad, but I'm not doing anything wrong. And I think that's, like, the biggest thing, is to accept where we're at, even if it doesn't feel easy, even if it doesn't feel like we deserve it, or whatnot. It is, I do believe it is the answer. It's simple, but it's not easy, as with many things. And yeah, I feel like it always helps to accept and be open about what I'm going through and how I truly feel. If not for anyone else, at least for myself. And so, yeah, just wanted to talk about that. And I hope that there's someone out there who found this, who stumbled upon this, who resonates. And I I'm looking for people like you. These videos are geared for those who are lost, those who lost themselves and are trying to find themselves, or they don't know what they're trying to find, or they're on the journey of healing. All of these things. That is who I feel like I can help the most. And if that's you, welcome. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Share your perspective, your experience. I've been reading a book called The Body Keeps a Score, and it's about trauma. And there's so many accounts in that book of people's traumas, and man, it's just so absurd how horrific and horrible some people's experiences are of life, man. Life can be really dark. And I feel like it's really hard, especially when you're misunderstood and you go through some dark shit. It can be really hard to open up and be honest about it, but I feel like those are the people who it's more important than ever for, you know? And so, yeah, social trauma freaking sucks, man. But still working on it, taking it a stepping stone at a time, accepting myself where I'm at, and practicing not pretending, practicing not masking, practicing being honest and being vulnerable. So that is that. I hope this helps, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.